Oh my goodness, this is so tough. We were so in the house, we were so very, very close actually. Like we were actually really curious if it was unique to our experience. There were so many different overlapping things, but the one person I actually really got to know the most would have to be um Dan. Dan was my bedmate. Like, so from the very beginning, him and I like knocked it out of the park. We were just like buddies, like from a different life. I actually thought that I knew Dan for some reason. I was just like, do I know you from somewhere? And it turns out he may live pretty close to proximity. So there have been chances that I've walked a certain place and we've crossed paths for sure. So yeah, I would say Dan is the person that I got to know the most now. If I had a chance to return, I would align myself with the boys really quickly, like show some layer of submissiveness, if you would. And the reason for that is I do think that those people in my real life were the hardest people to connect with, and I should have put in a lot more effort to make them, to show them that I can be loyal to them, but always in the background thinking like I'm gonna backstab you guys. Oh, I'm gonna get you guys so good. And I really should have played that angle, but I really do think that being myself and recognizing that there was no way to control my thoughts and my actions in the house, they would have figured me out way too soon. But if I had to play it differently, it would have been that angle, because this angle working with the girls apparently didn't work in my favor. So we have, if I do it again, let's try the other side. Hopefully one of them will take me. I wish that I had played the game a lot faster. People assumed I was already playing the game from week one. Like they they called me a triple threat like off the bat. Like the confessions behind the scenes and them coming up to me when I was placed as a nominee. It was really flattering for them to say, "You're not on the block because we don't like you. You're on the block because we know you're a threat. You've shown the ability to do physical comps. You showed the ability to do really well with puzzles. Your memory is like incredible. And then you're just like surrounded by people." So the perspective of me just genuinely hanging out with people and getting to know them came off as like me being a social player. And that was not the angle whatsoever. I was really trying to meet people in the game and find the people I wanted to play with first. That was kind of the goal that I was doing. So the takeaways from that is they're gonna assume you were lying, so lie anyways. They're gonna assume you're scheming, so scheme anyways. They're gonna assume you're toxic, so be toxic anyways. But that was really hard lesson to kind of learn. It was just like, oh, you guys are so afraid of me being genuinely me. Like, damn. Oof. I really, I guess it really scares people when you're authentic, and that's the tea. As a Big Brother fan, we all know the first week should be really easy. It should always be like a floater that goes home, someone who just like, has secluded themselves out of the group almost. And so that's normally how it plays out. And so for the first time ever, a backdoor happening week one was just unheard of. And it got people really scared. And so I think because that pattern was so new to everyone else, they were just so afraid to continue and this precedent of like changing it up. So like even flipping the house so early, it occurred to people, it's like, no, this shouldn't be how the game begins, and that we should be just voting with the house. And I kept like hammering this idea that if the six people could vote my way, I am the house. Like we become the house. Because at the end of the day, it was coming down to Dan going home or me. And if Dan went home, Renee was a number in my books. We would have been eight people playing against the other people who were out to get me, which is, and there were five of them. Santina couldn't even play HOH, so there was only four people playing HOH on the other side. So we really had the numbers. Like we really could have rebelled, but I'm not bitter. It's just don't be bitter, just do better, as they say. Oh my goodness. So I was imagining this, okay? So I was like painting this image on, and some of the house guests, I was theorizing all these things because they were just like, "Oh, you're like a Big Brother fan. What do you think is going to happen?" And I was like, "So imagine this. It's the next week. I've already walked out the house, and you guys are getting ready for HOH, and then they're about to say go, and then Arissa goes, "Wait, I think you guys are waiting for someone." And I walk right out those doors, and I'm like game face on, dressed up, ready to go. Oh, I really, really wanted that moment. I think it would have been so badass. And I just kept manifesting it. Come on, Big Brother, give me this. Just please give me this. But it didn't happen. But I hope that does happen to someone. I love that fantasy. Everyone was so sure that they're gonna get this person out, and then they just walk right back in, and they don't know. And like, oof, Big Brother, it's a great idea, by the way. Just saying. Wow, wow. Who do I want evicted next? Santina, I really tried, but you should go home next. I'd love to see Zach go home. I'd love to see Ty go home. I really do think that those were the three people behind my demise. But if I were to rank them in order, Santina, I'll see you next week. Whew. Okay. The fantasy is final two. Claudia and Kuzi. I know that I've been saying that I want Renee to win, and I think that she's just a really great overall player. I think she has like the package to win. But if the fantasy was John Michael's Big Brother game, Kuzi and Claudia at the final, and that would be. I mean, I'm just getting hot and bothered just thinking about it. I'm like, that's really what I want. Oh, come on, girls, Savage Sisters, please.